A pleasant day, everyone. Today, I'll be talking about the multiple choice item, its guidelines on how to create one effectively. But first, let's have an activity. I want you to analyze the following multiple choice items, then determine if the item is written good or bad. Pause the video so you can have more time analyzing the items. Answers will be given during the discussion. Before we proceed, I want you to read on your own the following objectives of our lesson for today. There are 7 guidelines for creating multiple choice items effectively. First one is to write the STEM as a clearly described question or a task. The general rule here is that the STEM should be written completely while the alternatives are written shortly. Notice in the first item of the previous activity, it is written poorly because it does not follow the general rule. Also, it will require a student to read the alternatives just to understand the given STEM, to be able to answer it correctly. So, there's no deeper understanding that is being assessed here. Only route memorization. Unlike with the improved one, which is at that bottom part, you will notice that it follows the general rule. The STEM is written completely, and a good indication that it is written completely is that when the student reads it, they will have a possible answers running on their mind while just reading the STEM before reading the given alternatives. Second is to avoid the use of negatives in the STEM. You will notice in the poorly constructed item that a negative in the STEM is present, which is the word not. The use of negative words such as not and except can lead to student confusion, anxiety, and frustration. And this can affect their performance because they will respond to that item much longer. This lessens the reliability of the multiple choice item that is used. But in some cases, where knowing what not to do is important to emphasize, the use of negatives in the STEM is applicable, but it requires to be emphasized by means of bold-facing or underlining the negatives, such as in the given example. Third is to write the correct response with no irrelevant clues. Notice the second item in the previous activity, it is crafted poorly because you will notice that the use of words in its alternatives, the distractors, and the correct answer has a significant difference. This would mean that it is easy for the student to determine the answer, which is letter B, because of that significant difference, which serves as a clue rather than the student uses his or her knowledge in order to answer it, as this is the purpose of the multiple choice item, to test the knowledge or the understanding of the student. The fourth one is do not use verbatim correct responses. It is important for us teachers to craft the correct response of a multiple choice item that is now being paraphrased, or it is based on our own words, because this will prevent route memorization to occur to students, and this will encourage deeper understanding of the topic so that we can effectively assess their knowledge through the use of multiple choice item. The fifth one is to write the distractors as plausible yet wrong. At the third or last item in the previous activity, it is also poorly crafted item because notice at the distractors London, New York, and Berlin, these are cities that are found in Europe, not in United States. And one of the ways to make a good distractor is it should be that the distractors are somewhat connected or associated with the stem. So in this case, it is easily to point out that Michigan is the only city that is found in the United States. So to conclude, that is the largest city in the United States. While if you observe in the improved item, you will notice that all of the distractors are all cities that are found in the United States. So it is effective to test the knowledge of the students about other factors that they would use as basis to identify the largest city based on the given distractors. Moreover, there are other ways on how to make good distractors. Number one is for you, teacher, to identify the common misunderstandings or errors by the student and use that misunderstanding as an effective distractor. Also, it should be that the length and the complexity of the distractor should match the STEM. Another one is the use of qualifiers such as generally and usually. 6.1 is avoid using all of the above, none of the above, or other special distractors. Notice in the item 6.1, all of the above is the correct answer because the heart, the veins, and aorta are part of the circulatory system. But the problem is that some students selects the first item which they thought is correct without reading the other alternatives, which includes the all of the above choice. Similarly, in the previous discussion, the use of none of the above in a multiple choice item is only applicable if we want to know if the students know what is not to be done, just like in the given multiple choice item 6.2. Avoid creating options such as in 6.3 item letter B and C where you combine different responses, as this will only measure the reasoning ability of the children, not the knowledge that we want to assess. Lastly, is to use each alternative as the correct answer about the same number of times. It is important to note that we use 4 possible choices in our multiple choice item as this lessens the guessing of the students in answering or choosing the correct answer. Because when we use 3 possible choices only, there is a 33% chance of students guessing the correct answers. Measuring the knowledge of the student is not achieved. Higher chance of guessing will occur. And that is the guidelines for creating a multiple choice item effectively. Before we end, let's have an activity. I want you to evaluate the following multiple choice items, and in a 1/4 sheet of paper, write what guidelines each of the multiple choice item violates. Pause the video so that you can analyze the items carefully. Your papers will be collected on Friday, April 25, 2025. And that's it for my presentation today.